Hello and welcome to round 8 of the F1 Game PC League in a very strange conditions here for the Austrian Grand Prix. We started with the full wets here at the beginning of the qualifying session. Now we have to decide whether to choose the intermediates or the options. I mean, DRS is already enabled, so we're switching now onto our qualifying lap, entering that first corner, very late break in, almost extending. But having a good exit here, and let's see the first split time compared to Del Piero. We're losing 1/10 to him, braking for the second corner. A little bit of oversteer at the exit, again opening up the DRS, and yeah, let's see the main overtaking point now. Turn 3 into second gear, also clipping the apex here 90, so a very good lap so far. Now it's quite understeery section with the F1 2015 cars, managing that quite well. Down to fourth for turn 6, and we are 1.5 tenths up on Del Piero, so it's looking good for provisional P1 here at the end of the session. Two corners left. And now the last corner, and actually missing the apex and running wide, and do not turn back on the track apart from that last corner. But it was a very good lap, 1:12 flat, but it's not really a good lap time. And let's see where we are lining up, and we are 4 seconds behind P1. And actually the first 5 guys yet, they chose the right tire. They moved onto the options in that last stint. So our teammate taking pole position, his 3rd pole position of the year, so that's very good qualifying once again from him, in front of Fat first, FD with a strong qualifying, Del Piero in 4th, Zamus in 5th. So the first 5 guys were within 3/10. That's very impressive. We are leading those groups with the intermediate tires in front of Cobra, and the championship leader Shadow of Army down to last place. Only 8 drivers today, which is very unfortunate. Various people dropping out of the league at the moment, and yeah, and it's raining for the race again. I don't know what this is. I mean, it's far too much raining in those races. I think there were only 2 races where we hadn't had any rain, so that's quite interesting. Full wet tires, 5 lights, and away we go for the Austrian Grand Prix, having a good start, better than Del Piero, going on the outside here and turning into that first corner. But there's Shadow on the inside, and I actually didn't see him, and he half spun there, not too major, but we have to give that position back. So not a very good start here, losing 1 position. Del Piero actually he braked far too late for the first corner, into the first corner, and he spun there. And there's contact between Copa and Zamus. We're getting an illegal overtake on the Zamus, which is definitely not the case. That penalty will surely get removed at the end of this race. And Shadow now attacking FD for P3, and he makes that move. Stick has a better traction. Yes, he's through, and we try to follow him here on the outside, but no, that's too understeery there. But maybe no. FD stays in front for the moment. It's a very strong qualifying, his best qualifying of the season, I think, from FD. So, I mean, he was also a very quick guy from last season, who had quite a good finishes, I think, various P4 and P5 finishes. So, I mean, he's coming into this season quite good. Our teammates still leading the race in front of Fat first, and because of that carnage, they pull out the gap massively here. As FD makes a mistake into the first corner, we try to capitalize on that. We're having massive oversteer there, putting him into rich mixture, and try to have the inside line for turn 2, braking later than FD, leaving him room here on the outside, just in case he can hang it there. But we're making that move stick. Also good traction now. It's all about hanging on to Shadow. Our pace was really looking good in practice. Maybe first race where I really could say that I can win the race just due to pace, and you can see that here as well, 2/10 improving on that fastest lap of that first 15.9. Very nice first corner also, although having oversteer, but we're catching up a little bit to Shadow of Army 1 lap later, starting lap 5, 3.6 seconds is the gap from Shadow to Fat. Very great braking actually for the first corner, very nice exit, and it's actually drying a little bit, and my teammate asked me already to switch on to the intermediates now, and now we are having quite a look at Shadow, but not making a move at it, but he thought we would make go up the inside, but we actually, I didn't meant to do that. There was certainly no yeah, I didn't try to make that move, but he leaves us room there at the entry of turn 2, which is I mean, quite good for us, because we have now the inside line for turn 3 and the better exit, and make that move stick. And actually the tires, I look at the temperature, it's they're getting quite warm every all 4 wheels in those corners, so I think Lewicki's right here to switch on to the intermediates now. So he decides to go into the pits now. Let's see what Fat First does. He follows him, and Shadow follows us, staying out for for another lap. So that track is drying again, much earlier than Canada, but certainly good that it's drying a little bit. I think it's good for me. So 1 lap later, Shadow still hanging on here, and just at the edge of not extending that pit entry. That was very close, and actually had a quite good in lap. Let's see. I mean, we will surely come out behind those two, as yeah, it's definitely intermediate conditions now. Good pit stop from our crew, 2.3 seconds, and there goes Klutsky, and there goes Fat First for P2 and P3. I think Del Piero stayed out for another lap, so the last one who didn't pit, I think, and actually made a little bit of a gap here to Shadow due to that very aggressive pit entry. And now a little bit cautious here, yeah, also quite oversteery here with those cold intermediate tires. It's always a little bit tricky if you go onto them from the full wets. And now skipping all the way down to lap 9, it's actually drying out very fast, as it was also the case in qualifying. And again, Klutsky and Fat pitting for option tires now, as DRS, I think, yeah, DRS is now enabled, so that's also, it's, I mean, the engineer is not telling us to switch onto the option tires until it's already too late, and DRS gets enabled. That's always an indicator that it's time now for the option tires, and this time we're extending the pit entry a little bit. And you can see on the map that small yellow dot is Klutsky, and Fat dropping back a little bit as he made a mistake, I think, in that outlap. So maybe have a slight chance to jump Fat in the pits, as it will be quite difficult for them to be on that option tires. Maybe we should have waited one lap, but nothing too major. A little bit too aggressive on the pit exit, but not losing an end plate there, luckily. And as expected, we jumped Fat in the pits quite massively, and skipping now to lap 30, now hunting down our teammate, which should be possible due to practice experiences. Very nice last corner there, and we're topping that fastest lap of Klutsky, and Shadow beats it as well. So that's was quite a common thing here in that third stint. I was faster than Klutsky, and Shadow was faster than me after he overtook Fat First, who is on the prime tires. The only man with Copa actually on the prime tires at the moment, so that's quite interesting. What strategy now is called. We surely will pit 2 another times. The tires will are lasting about 9 laps or something. 10 laps is a little bit too long for my for my opinion. And 4 laps later, 4 5 laps later or something, we catch up to our teammate and Shadow already in the DRS range as well as yeah. I mean, could be quite a good battle here towards the end of the stint, but now we are entering lap 8 for Meisten and lap 9 for Klowitzkis, and so he will pit at the end of this lap, and I have to overtake him maybe in this lap to push a little bit to not get a huge undercut from him, because that's quite the case here on this track. And we're going now up the inside of turn 2. He's braking a little bit too late actually. Also watching out for Shadow here. He is not making a move yet on the inside. Klowitzki's still in front, but we again have the DRS. Now the inside line for turn 3. And quite a similar move what we did to Shadow on lap 5. So taking that P1. And now we have to get a very good in lap, because we know Klowitzki will pit and Shadow has also the opportunity to pit now, as they're going side by side here at the exit of turn 6 entering turn 7, and actually they're both diving into the pits, and that's not really good as we extend that last corner a little bit here at 10.6, which is actually a quite good lap for those very worn and old tires. Very late brake for the first corner, almost too late. And yeah, again, we have to push like hell here to just not lose too much time to them. I was not expecting to stay in front of them, as they were right behind me. They should be able to overtake me in due to that undercut, and actually my teammate jumped Shadow in the pits, so that's good to see. He stays in front. But we also have to watch out for that first. We're still not too far behind, maybe 3-4 seconds. And maybe if he goes for if he fits the prime test for another time, he can make one stop less than all the other guys. So that's will be maybe also a strategy which may work for the end, but he has to be quick, and he is quick, of course. We had very good pit entry once. Well, clean pit entry this time. Switching now onto the option tires, second to last stop for us. And there's Copa, who didn't pit, the other guy on the prime tires, now in front of our teammate and Shadow, and we're actually very good looking here. Now if we nail that corner, yes, good exit. Copa goes past us, but we're coming out right in front of our teammate. That's the same as that's the fastest lap temporarily. Very good looking. Still, the tires are very cold. As we cannot brake that late. Small mistake from us. Our teammate now right up the inside, but we're getting that DRS from Copa. And we are catching up to him quite massively in this slipstream. We are not braking that late, as he's he's not able to brake that late with those warm prime tires. Still side by side with our teammate actually into turn 5, which is quite tricky to go side by side. Small contact, but nothing too major, I hope. And we're taking that P3 temporarily, and now we have the task here to overtake Copa as soon as possible. Having a good exit here out of the last corner, and yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult to make that move. Also nailing the braking for turn 1, and our teammate goes also through. That's very good. And Shadow now side by side with Copa as well, so Copa gets marked here, as you would expect that on those warm prime tires. And now the task for us is to pull away from Klowitzki and Shadow, as they will begin to battle. At least I hope so. And yeah, the task is also to catch up to Fett as soon as quickly as possible, as he now that's the relative standings. I was pretty sure he would make only one stop, so we all have to make one stop Codemasters to do 2 stops now, but we the first 3 guys have to do, no, 4 guys have to do 1 stop, so that's our effective, that's the effective gap now to Fat that we have to close down in those 15 laps, setting the fastest lap 108.3, which is very good. Gap I think was 10 seconds or something. Now lap 23 we're pulling away from Klutsky. Shadow cannot pass our teammate. He was very good at defensive driving, so that's a huge credit for him on those laps. And the gap to Fat only 3 seconds now. We were really flying on those laps. Also improved on that 108.3 to a 108 flat, which is a very good time in that stint. And Fat now making his final pit stop. We will stay out until lap 28, I think. Our teammate will pit on lap 27, as he pitted 1 lap earlier in this race quite constantly. And we're now skipping to that final pit stop. Again, very, very worn tires. There's no way we will come out in front of Fat first, as he has the fresher tires, although they're the prime tires. And actually, quite a surprising thing happening behind. Due to the battle of Klutsky and Shadow, Ycoms undercutted them and now is in front of them. So the second Ferrari having quite a good recovery race here. There goes Fat, but not too far in front of us. And yeah, that could be very interesting on those last laps. It shouldn't be too easy to overtake him. He's a very, very good defensive driver now. Also had quite difficulties to overtake him in practice, where we had a quite similar situation. He was on the prime tires, I was on the options, and it took me almost the entire stint to overtake him. So we hope that it will not be the case, because that 3 guys behind will catch up, of course, because they're also on the option tires. And actually, yeah, our teammate got overtaken by Shadow for the moment, which is not really good, but still 6 laps to go now, and we catched up to Fat now entirely, and we're not making not really braking late for that first corner, but having a good exit. Our teammate sets the fastest lap, and now we have the opportunity here to make a move on Fat, but you have the outside line for turn 2. It's not really good, but we're braking very, very late into first gear. Almost extending, almost, but we were not in be making that move stick around the outside of turn 2. Of course, it was easy to do that move due to that fresh tires, and also because we had the better tires than Fat, and now it shouldn't be too difficult to pull away from him. Our tires are still not worn, so, and our pace also should be very, very good. So if we concentrate, in that last 5 laps now, 5 laps remaining, we are looking good here to get our second win of the season on a track where I had quite high expectations. So that's very, very good to see actually now. Yeah, and that battle behind for P2 is not decided yet, as Shadow, Ycoms and Klutsky are catching up massively to Fat, and now skipping onto lap 36. And that, what happened is Klutsky and Ycoms collided after a very, very aggressive dive bomby move from our teammate, and Shadow now right behind Fat. They were battling for a lap or something. Surprisingly, Fat was able to counter that first move from Shadow on those very, very old prime tires. Ycoms dropped back to P6, I think, and my teammate is now battling with FD for P4, so that's quite a huge turn in that race on those final laps. And we were constantly were able to increase the gap to Fat. We're not giving everything, as we didn't we didn't need that to do to give everything we have. 2 corners left, 8.4 seconds the gap to Shadow, and very cautiously now through the last corner, and that's it. second win of the season. Very, very, very happy. What a great race that was, teamly wise, because I should give the credit to Kulowicki, because he was holding up Shadow for quite a long time, and that graphic's actually not right. Shadow is 7.6 seconds behind, not 2.6. The gap to third is right, 9.5. FD actually overtaking my teammate on the last lap, so that's quite unfortunate. Kulowicki was good looking, he had the chances for P2, but unlucky and also a little bit too aggressive against the Zamus, I think so. So Copa in 6th, Zamus in 7th actually. Oh, I thought he would be in 6th. Okay. And the Piero finishing in 8th. And Driver Championship, of course, Shadow still leading with what's the gap? 17 points to Fat, 26 to us. We're actually jumping DH and Zamus in the standings now. P3 for us, Zamus, Kulowicki, DH. DH actually dropping out of the league, which is very unfortunate also for the constructors now. For the Saubers, Copa, FD, Magnussen, Del Piero, Big Z, Kenny, who also dropped out of the league. Guerrilla not attending today. Xavier and Sneaky will build, his first race will definitely now be Hungary, so his new internet will be there by then. That's very, very good to see. He looked very good in practice for this season, so that should be a good add to our league. Constructors finally, Ferrari leading of course in front of the Saubers, still be almost 70 points behind. I mean, that's very, very much, but I don't know, we just try to make the best possible thing every race, and let's see what that will give us at the end of the season. So now the McLaren's in 4th, Red Bull, Mercedes, of course, India, Williams, and that's actually it for round 8. Hope you enjoyed the video and the race, and I see you next time out at Silverstone. Bye bye.